We're here today to talk to 1981 Stuart's Melville College leaver Simon Lints. He's recently been appointed as Scottish Government Trade Envoy to Singapore, and we're here today to talk through his career journey from studying law at university and going via wealth management positions in most of the major financial centres in the world to his new appointment, which aims to increase trade and investment opportunities between the two countries. So Simon, when you were at school, did you have a clear idea of where you wanted your career to go after school?
No, absolutely not. I thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and I tend to be a little bit of a live for the moment type individual. Grasp what opportunities there are, and I think what happened was it was more by default than anything else. My father was a lawyer. And my brother at that time, also was a lawyer. He'd studied law, and to me, it just seemed like a sensible stepping stone. At a fairly young age, I left when I was just 17, so I was keen to get out there, and I think law just seemed like a decent step to take without really knowing what it was going to lead me into.
And did you always have plans to travel for your career, or was that something you decided you liked, perhaps the expat life after you went to New York as a graduate trainee? You did that with JP Morgan after uni, didn't you?
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, I travelled a lot but within Scotland. I like getting out and about, but I'd never really travelled extensively. And you're right. The taste of moving to a new culture, New York, very exciting times as a young man, great adventure and things like that. And I love, absolutely adore Scotland and everything that it stands for, but I do find it quite parochial and sort of a little bit inward thinking. And when I've been to other countries and things, it just broadens the mind and just makes you want more of it, if you like. There's a lot of very interesting places and very interesting people out there. So I got the bug, and been very lucky to work in some great places.
I know you certainly travelled extensively.
Yeah.
You worked in private banking or wealth management for the bulk of your career. Is there any advice you would give to a pupil wanting to work in these areas?
Well, don't do it. No, it's an interesting one. How if the truth be known, and maybe just stepping back a little bit, when I was finalising my time at university, and again, great memories, great people, great professors, the whole experience studying at Edinburgh. And I was still living at home at the time, so I was very sheltered, and having been at Stuart's Melville and then Edinburgh University. So what happened was I was actually going to just follow a career into law, like, as I said, like my father and my brother. And I had positions lined up to do my traineeship, and also I had an offer to go in as a trainee in the Crown Office, which I was really quite keen on doing. But I discovered through a friend that if you went down to London and interviewed with one of the banks down there, they would pay you £100, just expenses. They saw that you came from Scotland, so that was sort of the going rate, if you like. So what I did was, and I thought it was very clever at the time, and I basically got on a train and went down to London with no intentions of working in a bank. Banks were boring and stuff like that, and I don't think I even had an account at the time. And so I went down to London and interviewed with, I think, over 30 banks, so made £3,000 and came back to Scotland with no intentions of doing anything. And then all these offers came in and to become a graduate trainee in all these banks that I'd never really heard of. And sounded very interesting and things. So JP Morgan came up with an offer which was going to offer me 4 times the starting salary as a trainee solicitor, and training in London and then New York. So it didn't take me very long to decide to make that move. I'm asked a lot about people nowadays going into it, and I've been very lucky. I've built a very good career in wealth management in different locations through different economic cycles, and it's never really been been easy at all. But I think the key determinant of why I've been good at what I've done is I like working with people. It's all about relationships. It's all about building people's trust and understanding what makes them tick and where they want to be and everything about their family and succession. And so to be successful, you really need to understand what they're about and their whole situation. So if you're a type of person that doesn't particularly like meeting people or doesn't like engaging or networking, I'm naturally outgoing and like meeting people, and I'm nosy and things. It's great. It's a great thing to follow, you know, working with people. And again, I'm in awe of these people that I look after. They're very, very wealthy people, but I'm not envious. I'm in awe of why they've been so successful. So again, I take a lot out of those relationships, and I'm good at what I do and build those relationships. And that partly answers your question. It's a challenging career now to go into. It's challenging because there's a lot more technology involved. There's a lot more compliance stuff. There's a lot more rules and regulations around it. It's not quite so free and easy as it's been historically. So I think if you are innovative and questioning in the way you go about things, if you're engaging with people, and you're prepared to travel, because I think, and it's a personal comment, I think the UK, given pandemic and levels of debt and things that have happened in the country, well publicized, it's going to be a challenging time for people in that sector. I think the wealth management sector in the UK is going to come under a lot of challenges. However, there are great opportunities in other centres around the world, and Asia, where I'm sitting, is going to lead the world out of the pandemic, and there's a lot of very successful people, businesses here and things like that. So if you're prepared to, if you're outgoing, questioning type that likes building relationships, can understand technology, can think out the box, likes working with people and traveling, yeah, absolutely, it's a great career to follow. It's well paid, which isn't the be all and end all for many people. It's probably overly paid for the contribution that you actually make, ironically enough. But yeah, it affords a very good career, and it's definitely one that people should consider. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting you talked about being able to travel, because you've lived and worked in most of the major financial centres in the world. Where was your favourite place, and what made it special to you?
Whoa. Well, favourite in terms of what? For working or living or visiting?
For living. Where did you most enjoy living?
It's here, Singapore. Singapore's.
What makes Singapore special?
It's special because it's known as a smart city, a smart nation. It's a population of 5 million, same as Scotland more or less, crammed into the land size as the Isle of Wight. So it's very dense, and you bump into people all the time. But it's so efficient. And what sets it aside is that there's a real can-do attitude. When you arrive here, and myself and my wife arrived here 13 years ago, we didn't know anyone. We'd never actually been to Asia, and we liked Asian food. I didn't like the cold of Scotland, so we came over here, and it just works. It's clean, it's safe, can-do attitude, it's dynamic, it's changing all the time, and it's really moving very quickly forward. It's a privilege to be here. So, you know, I've worked in Middle East, America, you know, across Europe, but Singapore is most definitely the standout for me. Absolutely the standout.
So you've got a strong reputation for building and growing businesses in the wealth management sector. Is there something special about the approach you use?
I have this knack of building good businesses. I employ people who are a lot better than I am, and I build good teams. I motivate people. I'm very diligent and industrious. I work very hard, and I'll do anything. I'll do any job. Nothing's beyond me, if you like. I'll roll up my sleeves. So a team player, but it's the people. It's the people. They say it's the greatest asset of any business, and I seem to have a following. A few people that have worked with me throughout my career have followed me into different businesses and things. Loyalty, and really just building good teams. That's good people, rewarding them, treating them well, encouraging them, mentoring them, the whole thing. So there's no magic sauce. There's a lot of hard work, but yeah, just building good teams.
So tell us about your new project as the Scottish Government Trade Envoy to Singapore. What's involved and how do you expect to influence trade between the two countries?
Yeah, it's a very good question. As I say, I've been out here 13 years, and my most recent full-time corporate job was as CEO of Schroders Wealth Management. So I built that business up for them, and I left that at the end of 2019. And obviously I'm far too young and youthful and energetic to retire, and I didn't really want to go back into full-time corporate life, if you like. So I decided that I would build up a portfolio of business interests, just using my connections in Asia and across the world, the networks that I'd built, and my expertise and knowledge of building businesses and things. So I'm involved, as I say, in various sectors. I have senior director or chairman roles in different businesses, medtech, financial communications, wealth management, various other business types. And so I'm working across different industries and sectors. And I've been out in Asia and traveled, and I know a lot of people in the network here in senior influential positions. So I've been a global Scot for the Scottish Government, which is an ambassador for Scotland out here since I came, really, and that's really welcoming delegations or people that are coming from Scotland with businesses that are looking to set up here, and I sort of give them a ready-made network over here. So I've done that a lot, and I just felt, and I spoke to the powers that be and said, listen, for me to be really effective, I probably need a more influential role. So be careful what you wish for, because the Scottish Government came to me and asked whether I would take up this role of being a trade ambassador, a trade envoy for Scotland here in Singapore. And the role is really to fly the flag for Scotland over here. It's to act as a bridge between Singapore and Southeast Asia and Scotland. That's both ways. So it's businesses and individuals looking to move over here, or businesses and individuals looking to invest into Scotland. There's a lot of very good businesses, a lot spinning out of the universities, a lot of startups, a lot of tech businesses in Scotland that need expertise and funding, and all the money's over here. So I'm a bridge between those two things. So how I'm going to go about it is really just use my networks. I'm an open door for people in Scotland wanting to come over here and do business or find out about Singapore and Asia. And I'm always very happy to talk about it and introduce them to people. And when there are projects in Scotland that are needing funding or expertise, and we have that over here, I will put that back to Scotland. So very privileged position. It's a very exciting position, and I'm very looking forward to doing it.
Oh, it sounds really interesting being able to make the links between the two countries like that and strengthen everything. That's really what it's all about. It's about bringing that strength to everything that's happening. So we'll wrap this up. So finally, what one thing do you wish you'd known when you left school, which would have prepared you better for life and business?
Whoa.
I like to ask the deep questions.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think I have a love for life, and I make the most of everything. You know, when I was at school, I had great friends and great teachers and great experience. I really, very happy. And then the same at university and throughout my career. I think the sort of my mantra is just really to make the most of it, and you only get one opportunity. You never know when doors are going to open and things like that. So I would tend to say, and it's difficult when you're younger, without a doubt, and there's expectations and and family pressures or financial pressures, but I think just go with your instinct. You only get one go at life, so you got to make the most of it. And it maybe doesn't sound like the most glamorous thing to follow, but take little steps and make the most of it, and just be really positive. Be absolutely positive in everything that you do. And I've done a lot of motivational speaking and talks over here, because obviously people are finding it quite challenging, this whole COVID situation and the lockdown, and will it ever end and things. So just think positive. If you think positive and surround yourself with other people that think positive, you can do lots of things. You're not going to have the perfect day every day. So just make the most of your time. And I think maybe when you're young, when I was leaving Stuart Melville at 17, you didn't really know what was out there, and I think you've just got to be confident and grasp your opportunities. Make the most of life.
We always say to the sixth year that the jobs that they will end their careers with don't currently exist.
True.
And it's impossible to plan that career path in that way. Yeah,
if I look back, Susie, if I look back even 5 years, what I was doing 5 years ago to compare now, it's, no one had heard of Zoom then. And it wasn't the norm to be on Zoom calls every day and stuff like that. But that's the exciting thing. And things are moving so quickly and whatever else. So I wouldn't plan your life too much. I would, get your education, make the most of your friendships, networks. And I still keep in contact with quite a lot of the guys that I was at Stuart Melville with. Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group and exchange silly messages and things like that. And that's more years than I care to remember that I've been away from school. But, make the most of your friendships, and life's too short. Make the most of it. And the world's a very small place. It maybe seems challenging at the moment, but we'll come through this. We'll all come through this. And then you want to really get out there and spread your wings. And there's some amazing cultures and peoples out there, and just make the most of them.
You've got me all fired up now.
Well, you can choose to be negative about things and doom, or you can be positive and get out and do it. And it's great, and I think positive people attract other positive people. So.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today, Simon. It's really been appreciated, and I'm hoping our pupils learn something from your wise words.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy to do that. I'm very happy to speak individually or to classes, whatever. As I said, I got a lot out of my schooling, and I'm very, very happy to give something back, if you like. So, you know, anything that I can do to help. If people want to email me or have a chat with me about life in Asia or anywhere else where I've been, delighted to. I do talk a lot, though. That's the only thing. So they have to be very patient. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much, Simon.